Getcha Popcorn Ready podcast. This is your host, Hatch, my boy.
Yes, sir. The other host right here, we in the building.
Yes, sir.
Get your popcorn ready. We have Trent and... Woo, man, that's good. That's good right there.
Yeah.
Get your popcorn ready, Trent.
Man, we gonna call you by your full name today. You see, he didn't call you Trent Irwin. He called you Trenton. So
Right.
we going full name today, brother.
It's either Trenton or T.I.
T.I.?
T.I., they call you T.I.? They call you
Like
T.I.?
the rapper?
Yeah, exactly.
I got one guy call me that.
So I think we've had a lot of nicknames for Trent in the past.
Oh, man.
And
No, haven't
we
you
had.
called you T.I.
I don't think we've ever came up with T.I.
No.
Right?
We had White Boy Boogie.
White Boy Boogie. There was White Jesus. Call him White Jesus for a minute. We've never had T.I. though, brother.
Nope.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for coming to the show, bro.
Appreciate y'all having me
You know what
here.
I'm saying? I see you got your Stanford
Got
card
a rep.
on, you know.
Got a rep.
Trent went to Stanford 4 years and went to the Miami Dolphins, and now is with the Cincinnati Bengals. So how you like what's going on with yourself and your career right now?
Man, I mean, it's a blessing every day, you know, just taking it day by day, though. You know, you don't ever know what the next step's going to be, so
Yeah, you got that
I'm
right.
just trying to live it out, live in the present there, and,
Yeah.
you know, take that next step when it's there.
Yep.
So what's in the next 5 years for you? I like to get it right off the bat. Like what's is going to be a successful career for you? And I know, like I said, I come from Stanford.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously we know you're a smart guy.
yeah.
Smart guy.
What is it going to take for you to, I guess, in your mind, feel like you've arrived or you're successful in the National Football League?
Totally. I think it's going to take earning the opportunities. You know, I mean, when it comes to Cincinnati, we do one-on-one, like, random reps where, like, everyone bets on each other. So, like, we'll do one rep in a practice.
Not gambling bets, everybody out there. We don't do that in the NFL.
Push-up bets.
Shout out to Calvin Ridley, you know, but go ahead.
Where, like, you know, we'll just do one rep, and I feel like we've done that probably like 15 times. I'm 13 or 15 in my reps. So
There
it's
you
just
go.
been one of those things where I'm going to win my one-on-one, and, you know, I think it's going to be an opportunity. And then, you know, getting out there, we have obviously an elite receiver room.
Right.
And I'm excited to, you know, get out there and win my one-on-one rep whenever it comes around.
And I like how you preface that by saying, like, you're wanting the opportunities and you make those opportunities count. For a lot of guys, like I said, that are in your position, you're not getting the reps that you would like, but it's the quality of reps and the opportunities that come your way. What is it about you that kind of keeps you focused? Because, like I said, it's easy to, like, man, I'm not getting no reps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're working just
Not
as
starting
hard.
this week. you
Right.
know.
You're not getting, you know, the workload that you would like. You know, how do you keep yourself engaged? Because this is good for a lot of guys that come into, you know, out of college, they get drafted, they're free agents, unrestricted or whatever. They go undrafted and they get in the league and they feel like, you know, they're just as good as everybody else, but they're not getting those opportunities. What keeps you dialed in?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think receiver in general is a beautiful position because you're not getting the ball handed to you. You're not just right here. You got to win your
Right.
rep.
Right.
But the ball's not thrown to you, like, no one really sees it as much. You know,
Right.
they see it on film up top,
Right.
but you're not able to produce and put the numbers. So, for me, though, you know, it's just a matter of enjoying the journey. You know,
Right.
if you try to focus on the outcome too much and then you're not able to attain it as quickly as you may desire, then it becomes less achievable in my mind. So I think it's a journey, just being able to enjoy the little things in practice. I always love going to the scout team whenever if I go in there because I get to go against the number one DB and whoever that is on our team. And if I'm beating him continuously, it's known, you know?
Right.
And that's the part I can control is winning that rep. And that's on film, you know, that's out there every day.
Well, here's the thing about 2022 and social media, and this bothers me so much today, right? They'll put a rep, one-on-one receiver DB. The receiver win by like 3 yards, but he doesn't get the ball. But on Twitter, he gets love like you're a dude. Oh, you killed him. It doesn't count, people.
No.
Because if that was my career back in the day, I would have some type of stats for winning but not getting the ball. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, I love that you said, like, internally you love that competition and you're winning the rep. But it's nothing to put on Twitter, people.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Not at
It's a
all.
win for you, for you to get better.
Yeah.
But stop putting all that stuff on Twitter. That has nothing to do with being successful in the NFL.
No, for sure.
Give us what was the Super Bowl like?
Yeah.
Give us, because I mean, like I said,
Experience.
you're right, because everybody getting the league, they feel like, okay, they're going to, especially it depends on the organization, they feel like they may have an opportunity to get and play in the Super Bowl. And, I played 15 years and only went to one.
Right.
And so I played with some pretty good teams, and every year you're like, okay, this is the year. Mm-hmm. And so obviously early on, you get a taste of that. Give us your best, share with us like kind of what that experience was like, and then tell us too a little bit about the Joe Burrows and Jamar Chase, what that combo is like.
Yeah. So, I mean, starting from the beginning of the year, it was just sort of, we knew we had something, but we really didn't know what it was. And I don't think it really came into fruition until later that we started to believe as a group that, there was something special there. That you could feel it in the locker room. Going into the playoffs really was the time. It was like you could feel something was there. Right. It was really about to take off. I argue that, the NFL is talented. You got all sorts of talent
everywhere,
in different places, and having to have all that come together at the right time. I think that was our example there, is we really had everything come together towards that purpose. And, there's some amazing things that Joe, you can watch him on film every week. And the ability he has to be able to see and just, I always call it flowing.
Yep.
Because it's not
for the game.
It's a feel. You can't plan it.
Right.
The ball's in your hand, and you got to feel everything out. You got to feel the coverage, you got to feel the leverage, you got to feel the position, exactly. All that. Yeah. So his ability to feel and flow within that moment is unbelievable. I think we had one in the Chiefs game. I don't know how he threw it. He was scrambling right. I believe it was 4th and 9 or fourth and long, on on their 25-yard line. He was scrambling right. Jamar was running left.
Right. Yeah.
And he just threw it right. To time up with Jamar to stop and come back
and come get it.
I couldn't believe that one. So that connection was special, but that's just talking about flowing. I don't know if you could time that up
because you've never practiced
mathematically.
That.
No,
you can't practice that in a practice scenario.
Right. I mean, coming out of in the draft 2 years ago. Obviously, he played in the championship game against Alabama. They had a similar play, running to the right and throwing, one of those uncanny plays. But those are the players that you see and you're like, those guys are special. They have that it factor.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the Super Bowl, of course, great experience, obviously, and you didn't get to play in the bowl, right? You will one day. We'll put that in the air. But I kind of want to get your story out there as far as the sacrifices that you've made, right? Because I know we've talked about these things in the past, and you're one of the kids that was all in at an early age, right? The whole 7th, 8th grade, I'm not doing nothing else except getting my mind right, physically, mentally, emotionally, to go to the NFL, right? But through that process, there were bumpy roads, obviously, right? So I remember you tore up your knee, your senior year, the second to last game, right, going into the NFL draft. So we, of course, on this show, we try to talk a lot about transitions and overcoming things, right?
Totally.
So was that probably one of the lowest points of your career, you thought?
Yeah, so that was going into Miami too. So I tore my MCL, was deciding whether to get surgery, and I ended up getting surgery. And, so I had a brace on most of my time in Miami and then had it taped up near the end. But that was just sort of trying to regain that trust in your body, something. They went in there and did something.
Right.
I was out cold, don't know what happened.
Right.
And I got to be able to be twitchy again, cut, and be able to trust that again. And for me, that was a learning curve there in Miami. And I also felt like in Miami, I tried to do everything by the book, but there's got to be you got to be able to explore outside the lines, and I think that is, in the end of the day, you got to win. And however that is that you win in your book, you got to learn that's how you're going to win on that rep for, because you got to produce.
Right. So it's 4 years at Stanford, right? Yeah. You're trending to be a draft pick in the NFL, right? And then when the knee happens, it's did all of a sudden okay, now my dream is over. Now the dream becomes more difficult. What was that thought process? Pretty much a week to 2 weeks after it happened. What was going through your mind?
Yeah, so I mean I felt like I had to get it right. I had to make sure everything, because it was torn in a weird way. It was just a clear tear, but it was raggedy, and they didn't want it to be like loose. So they had to tighten that thing up to be able to function properly. For me, you didn't know where it was going to end. I didn't know when in Miami if I was going to be picked up somewhere else. Right. I was at home for 4 or 5 weeks.
Was that bothering you at the moment? Like, okay, I might not go to the NFL now. Was that bothering you?
Definitely.
Like, okay.
No, 4 to 5 weeks. I was like, dang, I'm walking my family friend's dog, working out still, but like, I'm just sitting here walking the dog. That ain't it for me. So it was definitely humbling, but it was also, for me, it still had a fire in there of showing that, I still had something to prove, and I always got something to prove. But just that.
Was that the first time you think that you've been humbled in your whole career? Because in high school, you were so dominant, right? So many records in high school. You go to Stanford and you have a lot of success. Where else could you have been humbled like that throughout the past?
Yeah, facing adversity. I'm sure this is one of those.
That was one of my biggest ones for sure. That was just one of those moments where it was like, it was this or that. I didn't know if I was going to take my Stanford degree somewhere or be able to go, continue to play football. So that was one of those moments that was beyond humbling there, because that future was unknown.
Did you cry?
Oh, I cried for sure. I'm not even gonna lie.
A bunch of nights?
Man, there was some tough nights. I ain't gonna sugarcoat nothing, man.
Yeah, hey, that's part of it. But again, you had. Again, if people don't know, set every receiver record in California. What, touchdowns, receptions?
Yeah, yards and receptions.
I think he broke Steve Smith's record.
Yeah,
our boy Steve Smith.
Wow.
Taft High School, played for the Giants. But again, because you're going through that, ninth grade through your senior in high school, like those are all successes. Right? Oh yeah. You're like, I'm winning. I'm doing what I want to do. And then the Stanford offer comes, right? Gets no better than that academically and athletically. And then for you to, again, get humbled at the last moment, were you like doubting, like, what am I doing in my life? Do I deserve this? Like, what were those conversations within that you were having?
I was just trying to figure out where my path is, figure out what that path was. I'd be grateful for what was in the past, but then just take that thing day by day. And when opportunity comes, it wasn't going to be one of those things where I could just let it slide. I needed to be able to, make the best of it. And it was one of those things that is sort of what happened in Cincy. I would go there. I got picked up week 5 there. And so, they scout team or whatever, that was really what my role was. They didn't care much, but we had one-on-one rep a week. We had one. And it was in front of the whole team. And I knew that was my time to be able to, and I remember my first time, I won the rep. We had we call that whip at the back of the end zone.
Yeah, dig return.
Yeah, won my rep there. And 2 weeks later, that corner I went against wasn't there. So I was like, dang.
You put him on the street.
You got to put him on the street.
No,
you out there putting people on the streets, dog.
Vice versa, I knew it would have been me,
Yeah, if you lost that rep, you could have been on the street. That's what I want people to understand. It's really that small of a transition.
Wow, it was wild.
Well, Hatch said that you were kind of like all in. I don't believe you were all in.
You don't believe I was all in?
I don't believe you were all in. Because you had a little bit of an acting career.
So that's good to begin.
So I don't think you were just all in, because
you was moonlighting.
Right, exactly. So tell us a little bit about this acting career.
Yeah.
Because we did our research. I mean, you had obviously, a little bit of family into acting. Then you kind of transitioned, made some appearances on some Velveeta. I'm gonna have to go back and check some of these commercials out, because I didn't see it.
He was 6.
Right. Right. But then, like I said, you missing practice to go shoot commercials. That doesn't sound like somebody that's all in.
Did that happen in high school?
That happened in high school.
Did you get benched?
I got benched the first quarter of my first game.
There it is.
And my acting career was over.
Thank you. Thank you.
So America, he wasn't totally all in. So he was basically, putting his feelers out there just in case this football thing didn't work out. He's over here telling us, okay, he was trying to figure out where his path may be or go.
So what year was that? Were you a freshman or sophomore?
I was a freshman. That
freshman
was
in high school.
2011.
Yep.
Yeah. So I had a callback during the week for a Microsoft commercial that I ended up getting. But I missed one of the practices, and coach told me I was out for the quarter. So I shot that commercial, but I never did another audition in my life after that.
There you go.
That was
So
it.
that turned the corner of, okay, now I'm all in.
It's all there.
Which brings me back to what he was saying, like, you know, you hit these, you know, these forks in the road. You know, you get injured. You know, that's part of the game. You know what I mean? It's inevitable. Like I said, you don't know really kind of like, you know, what your future is. You know, you're bouncing around here and there. Are you contemplating, like I said, you know, obviously smart guy, went to Stanford. So what's your degree in, by the way?
So my degree is STS, which is Science, Technology, and Society, but it's with a focus in nature and the environment. So like animal conversation, sustainability.
Yeah, you got
You lost him at STS.
There's a
He's like, STK? That's a restaurant.
No, that's STK.
That's what I said.
You said STS. I thought that was like, that's a Cadillac. It's a Cadillac STS.
Yes, I'm with you on that one.
Right, you know what I mean? But back to my point, like I said, was there ever a point, you know, like I said, you're contemplating, you know what I mean? Like I said, you know, we've all, you know, been injured. You don't really know the fate of what's going to become. Like I said, you could be here one week, gone the next week, brought back, this and that. You know, this is how the business rolls. Was there ever a moment where you thought about contemplating, you know, actually going back into the acting and doing those things that you once did? I said you once did.
That I once did. There was 4 weeks where I was trying to figure out what that path was.
Yeah.
But all during the 4 weeks, it was still trying to grind to get back. Because I felt like I had a lot more to prove.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like it was unsettled stuff there.
Yeah.
So it was, there was a little bit, but I really don't know life without football. I ain't gonna lie. You know, ever since I was
because it's
5.
early in your career, and that's all you really know. And I think, like I said, obviously with us, like I said, you know, you play a number of years, and like I said, you start to get that itch. You're playing with a great organization. I played with the Bengals. There with the owner, Mike Brown. You have obviously one of the top quarterbacks that's going to be in this league in Joe Burrow. Tell us a little bit about him, and then I want you to tell us a little bit about Jamar Chase. Like, I mean, obviously, like I said, he's stepping in as a rookie. What makes him, you know, such a special player? Because we all saw the numbers that he put up. You know, what makes him such a special player? And then I think a lot of his success obviously goes with that connection that he had with Joe that he had, you know, in college as well.
Yeah. I mean, Joe's quiet. Joe Burrow is he's a quiet individual, but you can feel like sort of, you can call it passion, you call it belief. You can just feel that in the way he goes about everything he does.
Right.
You know, so like as soon as he got in the building, you could feel that was that guy. And you know, everyone has sort of that belief that comes, you know, with him being there. So I think, you know, just having Joe there is unbelievable, but it's not really the words. I think it's more the way he goes about what he does. You know, and I don't know how you put it into words, but
lead by example. Right?
Yeah, you can really just say that. One thing he had, we were in the playoffs, and we had like a ending meeting. You know, those meetings we have where like the players lead some sort of like speech or some sort of
players
like,
only type of meeting.
Yeah, and it's like, there's some coaches in there, but they were leading the like talk going into the game.
Right.
And I remember there was a saying that was on the wall that week. A lot of the fans were saying it, social media was saying, they were saying like, why not us? And you know, that was coming into, I think that was Raiders week, or maybe going into the week after that. And you know, Joe had something to say on that. He didn't like that at all because he didn't like the underdog narrative. And he was like, he never felt like we ever lost a game. We just sort of ran out of time type of thing.
Right.
So like him coming out on that was one of my examples for him on his belief system. He said, screw that thing. Like that ain't us. Like that's not, we don't need to carry that with us because it just is not conducive to it.
Right.
I believe I can win every single game, every single rep, every single quarter. That's kind of his personality.
And that's where he's at mentally all the time.
Yeah. So now you see that carry out throughout the locker room.
Yeah.
And now you see, okay, that's kind of like the next step because again, people always, you can have a bunch of talent, right? But if you don't have no leadership in that locker room, it's just like everybody's doing their own thing. But it's like I thought that you guys got hot in that December-ish into January, which gave you guys a shot to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because the first 3 months, everybody's the same. You know, talent, injuries, everybody's going through the same thing. But that last month of December, when the team gets hot, like that's when it kind of, you know, that's the team that's going to the Super Bowl.
Oh, 100%.
And as you said, when the leadership, it it comes to the top and you have certain individuals, because
Yeah.
you guys are a very young team. You don't have
young.
any vets.
Nah, really.
You know, not
Yeah.
any vets there to lead you guys. And I think what he has, like you said, his belief, it permeates, you know, throughout the locker room. I know, for a lot of the fans, you know, football fans, I think this was unexpected. You know what I mean, for a lot of people, because they didn't think, you know, out of the AFC, you know, you might have been like maybe top 5, but I think the top 3 may have been,
Chiefs
you know,
and,
Chiefs, the
Buffalo.
Bills,
Yeah.
and, you know, somewhere in there. You got maybe hovering around 3 or 4 to come out of there.
No, for
but
sure.
as Hat said, it's all about the team that's the healthiest, and you're playing hot and getting gaining that momentum at the right time. Now that, like I said, you guys are not going to sneak up on anybody. So come here. Like I said,
It ain't no who day, it's day.
Right. You guys are going to need, you know, that belief. You guys are going to need those plays. You're going to need some protection for Joe Burrow, because, like, bro, he got beat up. Honestly, if you guys had a half of a line, you guys win that game. I guarantee you, because I had you guys to win.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, if you guys had a solid line going into that last drive, you guys put some points on the board, and you guys win. And I think that's what really obviously ultimately hurt you guys. And I think obviously that's going into this off season, going into next season, that's going to be a big focus for you guys to really get him some protection, to obviously get back. Because like I said, do you think you guys will be able to get back to where you guys were? Obviously, you're going to get to the playoff, but do you think you guys can get back to the Super Bowl? Obviously, not putting you on the spot, but with the line that you had this past year.
I mean, you know, with Joe, I think we had 8 sacks in the Tennessee Titans game. That was a record.
Bro, he was getting beat up.
And the only time it happened, they won. So, it definitely was a thing that we had to address.
Right.
You know, I mean, a lot of those guys are my boys, and the situation, you know, you
Right,
gotta feel out was all right. But,
yeah,
you know, you got to be able to protect the quarterback and
You got
be
to have
able
some
to produce.
accountability. Like,
And
again, because at the end of the day, like, obviously, this is what, Joe's second or second year?
Second year. Yep.
I mean, obviously coming
They
off.
go protect the franchise.
Right,
for
yeah.
sure.
I mean, coming off a knee injury to play the way that he did, that was remarkable to see that, because he didn't lose any confidence. Because a lot of guys, they lose that confidence. They don't play like themselves, you know, as once before.
Well, even in the Tennessee game, like he gets sacked 5 times. I'm not a quarterback, but I get sacked by a 280-pound dude 5 times.
You looking at the rush, not down the field.
Oh, if I'm the QB and I'm getting hit like that, I'm like, yo, I'm about to address this line. I'm like, look, guys, you know,
this thing out.
bro, for real. So again, my question: do you think you can get back to the Super Bowl? Because that's going into this next season. Obviously, that's going to be a thing of emphasis. Going into this next season, you guys, like I said, going into that locker room. Again, you felt what it was like. You saw that playoff run.
Yeah.
Is it going to be enough? That hunger going to be enough to get back?
No, that's real. We signed 3 O-linemen there to try to, you know, address
Shore
that
up,
situation for sure. But I think that situation of the year, you know, I'm excited to see where the momentum takes off, where the, you know, camaraderie, where everyone's mind's at. Because those are the variables that are hard to, you know, the human variable is that one that's hard to take account for. And that comes with, you know, how people are feeling that week compared to the previous week, whether it's relationship, whether it's family, whether, you know. I think we had a lot of those things clicking for us going in the playoffs, but that's something you got to be able to
repeat if you want that to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, and again, if we're talking about what's going on now, right, compared to your high school career, what do you think that, like, now as a teammate, as family members, like when you just said it has a lot to do with off the field stuff, like chemistry, like how important has the chemistry been, like with your circle at Stanford, now your circle in the NFL, how important that been to your growth as a young adult? If you will.
That's number one to me. I think it's all about the relationships, all about the people in your life there. So, I mean, you know, my mom, my dad, all of them are always there.
Shout out to Craig Irwin, my guy.
But I mean, even coming to people, Stanford, I had a little camp there, having all those people there, Hatch included.
Yeah.
And I had 150 kids there. Just that was my community. That was my little group there to be able to give back. But also, I mean, everyone there has provided life lessons along the way that have helped me go through any sort of hardship. So I think it was that was unbelievable. But going on to the season comment. Those are the type of people that you lean back on. If you got an injury or if you got a situation, you got to call up those people, see where, pick their brains, see what they got. And, they're always there in the corner for that. And I think everyone has that in some sort of way. And you got to be able to sort of reach out. And I think that's vital to be able to be at your best, mental place.
Yeah. So again, we haven't had a lot of Stanford guys on the show. And I don't even know a lot of Stanford guys. It's a special place, right?
Yeah.
Except for Andrew Luck. We haven't had him on yet.
No, we haven't.
Gotta get Andrew.
What's the best advice you ever got?
The best advice
you've ever got. I know you've been around a bunch of very smart people over at Stanford.
Yeah.
Right? You've been around a lot of people, a lot of big names in the world. Like, what's the best advice you've ever got?
Man, as a player, I think someone once told me to never let someone believe more in you than you do in yourself.
Okay.
So that was one thing that sort of resonated with me along the way in the NFL. As a lifestyle thing that I want to be able to do, it's sort of always be a part of something greater than yourself. And then that comes with, just your lifestyle, and whether it be family, whether it be, you're religious, whether it be your community. I feel like, being part, or a team, you're part of something greater than yourself. And that's sort of how I want to, go about my day to day.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big, I guess, difference or perception from what people perceive athletes, and it's self-absorbed, and it's all about them. It's like, no, we really have a lot more, I guess, substance to us, and that's why I'm trying to paint the picture, for you, because again, I've known you since you were 13. But it's like, I just want people to understand that the thing that's this NFL thing or this success thing, it's just not easy to have. But they turn on the TV and they're like, oh, they're just a bunch of, they're bigger, stronger, faster than everybody.
Athletes just running around.
So they made it. Like, it really has nothing to do with that, because there's always bigger, stronger athletes out there, right? And give us an example, some of the sacrifices you made, especially in the high school years, that you would not do when you saw other guys doing it, other guys kind of the 5 stars and 4 stars who might have stopped working out as hard, and you kept working, or maybe that happened in college. But give us some examples of sacrifice you made throughout your career to get to where you are today.
Yeah, no, I think that part of that, surround yourself with the right people. Surround yourself with those type of dudes who are going to work like that. But I mean, I always figured that no one was going to outwork me. That was just sort of my way of what I went about,
Give us an example of that work, though.
Yeah, so I mean, I camped my last 2 years at Stanford. We, they have their whole camp scheduled. You go in there, you got meetings, you got this, you got lunch. Then you got meetings again, you got practice, and you got meetings after that. So camp's always a rigorous, 21 days or whatever.
Yeah.
And one thing I always would do is we would have, we go get lunch. So I'd get lunch for 15, 20. And then I'd head out to practice and get on the jugs for 40 minutes before practice, and then 20 minutes after, so that I was able to, even during camp there, just sort of set a
extra hour right there.
Yeah, and if you add those hours up over time, that's how you get to the next level.
Yeah.
But again, people don't understand, because again, the average person, I'm just gonna get this lunch, I'm gonna relax my body, I'm gonna get on the phone, I'm gonna go chill, relax. But again, those are the opportunities that's gonna separate yourself from just not making a team in 2 or 3 years, or get, all those things.
What's the strengths to your game?
The strengths to my game?
Yeah. Like what makes you
T.I.
Right. Yeah. What makes you? You know what I mean? Because we have people watching our show. They're looking at them like,
scrawny little white dude don't look like he can play. That's what, right? That's what they always
so crazy, because
say.
we run across guys that obviously, like I said, taller than you, bigger than you, look more athletic than you. I'm like, oh, I can play in the league. But they've never played.
Right.
They didn't play. Or they had the opportunity and they squandered it away.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because they're looking at this show. I'm like, man, look at this. I can D this guy up. You know what
I can D him up.
Really,
and trust me, you ain't gonna D him up. I've been seeing
he
it
over
for
here
years.
looking like Duck Dynasty. You know what I mean? White Jesus over here. Like, really? You know what I mean? Like,
he got you, dog.
right, I can D this dude up. No, but I mean, like you said, I mean, you had a hell of a career. Like I said, I mean, touchdowns, yards, I mean, receptions. I mean, you remind me, you liken to a guy that played at Florida. That had
Chris Doering?
Chris Doering. That did some similar things. What is it about your game that make you special?
Yeah, so I mean, I think when it comes to studying people or studying how people move or having an answer, I don't think I don't have an answer. So if a guy's an off-arm jab guy, if he's going to play flat-footed and catch, if he's, you know, like, I feel like I always have an answer for what they're going to do. And if their tendencies dictate my move, they can never be right.
Yep.
Is this part of this STS that you're this major? Does that factor into some of this that you're sharing with us?
I don't believe it's got a direct correlation.
No.
It sounds like it though.
Yeah, exactly. Science, technology. What was the other S?
Science, technology, and society.
Yeah, society. Yeah.
No, but I mean, like, as a route runner, you know, I think as a route runner, being able to manipulate, like, body language, being able to tell tendencies, and, you know, just sort of, I guess, lie with my feet in a way, you know?
Right.
It's sort of
if you're going to lie with those.
Man.
If you're going to lie. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, going back to his route run, I remember at the Nike opening, right? So this is the only receiver ever that was double covered at the Nike opening. He was balling so much they had to double cover that dude.
That?
The Nike opening, where all the top guys.
I know. Yeah, that's like the elite. I'm the elite. You know what I mean?
They was double covering T.I. out there, man. So I mean, going back to those days, right? Like when you see those guys now that we talk about that didn't make it.
Yeah.
Like, what do you see from those guys? Like, I kind of had a feeling of his work ethic. I had a feeling that, you know, he wasn't as focused. He wasn't dedicated. Like, what do you take away from the guys that were the 5 stars or the future NFL guys that just didn't make it to the NFL?
Yeah.
Do you take anything away from that or those guys?
Well, I mean, you know, you guys talked a little bit earlier about just sort of like NFL, these guys are just big, strong, whatever.
Right.
But it really is a game between the ears, you know. It's something that, you know, however you deal with your situations in life, but also how you deal with the adversity within the field. So, I mean, I think the guys who end up making it sort of take a loss of a rep as something to learn, and they really have like an aggression to get back to the next rep. You know, some people sort of like lose a rep, but like don't want to, you know, they're 5-star, they don't want to want to be on film losing a rep because then they feel less of themselves. But then you don't practice as much, then you don't, you know, prosper, and then you know, it's just sort of a
you got to compete.
Domino.
You gotta be willing
it's
to fail.
competition. Yep, and that's part of it. You know what I mean? That's the only way you can move forward.
Yes.
Is either getting knocked back some steps or you taking steps back and just learning how to fail. You know what I mean? You have to embrace it. You know, I think, you know, we've all been there at some point. We all strive to be the best. You know what I mean? We have people that set the barometer for us, and like you said, it's between the ears. And so for me, when I played, when I wasn't playing a lot my first 3 years, I played a lot of special teams. As you said, you know, playing a lot of scout team. You know, doing the cards, things of that nature. That's how I got better. I even go back to college. When I wasn't playing my freshman or sophomore year, you know what I mean? My sophomore year is when I started to at least feel like I could play. But my freshman year, I mean, I ran a scout team. I mean, and those were opportunities to go against the #1 defense to help them prepare for the upcoming week. So we ran the cars, the routes, this and that and the other. And it got to the point like I had to embrace being on the scout team because I knew I wasn't a starter. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to play on the upcoming Saturday. I wasn't going to play in those games. So guess what I did? I tried to be the best scout team player that I could be. And then it got to a point like later on in the season, I mean, I embraced it so well that the defensive coaches, the coordinator, they was getting mad because the #1 D, they couldn't stop me. They was like, how are you guys letting this guy catch the ball?
Okay, he's T.O., man. That's why.
But the thing, I wasn't even T.O. then.
I know.
I wasn't even T.O. then. But I had to embrace that, man. And I think I carried that on because I knew that there was a lot of growth of my game that I know I could get to that I hadn't at that time.
Yeah.
So you have to humble yourself. You have to, like I said, take advantage of the opportunities that are given to you. You can't be satisfied. And even my coach, I remember my 9th year going into being traded from San Francisco going into Philly. And I told David Culley, we were going through practice and there was a lot of hoopla with me being there of what I've accomplished at this point. And I pulled him to the side. I said, Coach, don't ever stop. I've said it probably to 2 coaches. I said, don't stop coaching me. Because I steadily wanted to get better. Mm-hmm. No matter how society saw me, know how much, the media praised me. I'm like, oh, he's this, he's that. I've evolved, He's better than Jerry Rice. Dude, I always wanted to get better. And that's like you said, you don't want to lose no rep. You know what I mean? But sometimes you may have to lose a rep to gain a rep.
You have to gain.
You know what I mean?
You have to lose.
But that's just part of competition because you can't win them all. Like you said, you get one-on-one every week. You're 13 for 15. Ideally, you want to be 15 for 15. But guess what?
I'm going to learn from them other
right,
two
exactly.
that I didn't.
And I guarantee you, those 2 are probably irking you.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
You like trust me. I
coulda, woulda, shoulda, and I
sitting there. I know those 2 reps. I guarantee you are irking you. Like, man, I should have done this or I could have done that. But like I said, when you're in the moment, you have to seize it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you said,
again, I think that what you're saying right there is so powerful.
Oh, man.
Because the average person is celebrating the 13.
Bro, trust me.
Don't celebrate the 13.
What?
Go get better from the 2. You know what I'm saying? But that's kind of like our society and what they fall into of thinking what success is.
Dude,
and they all see the highlights. Like, I'm gonna be real. I know T.O., but I don't know that college experience story there. That's not as publicized out there. They're publicizing the highlights.
Right.
But everything else you had to go through to be able to get to that
Dude, let me tell you something.
Is on a different level.
Absolutely.
I remember after a few years, we made it to the playoffs. It was my San Francisco years. We get in the playoffs, and then you think about plays during the season. You kind of recap once the season is over. You're like, man, you think about the drops, you think about the Emmys, you think about all those things, bro. And I'm not a big drinker, but during the off season, I allow myself to like take a few, have drinks, go out, party, whatever. Dude, I remember just being in the clubs. I'm in hot Atlanta.
Yeah.
I'm in Visions. I'm in Chaos Autos. I'm in all these clubs. Dude, I'm at the bar. I could be just in the cut. There's so much going on around me. I'm thinking about routes that I messed up on during the season. Bro, I'm dead serious. I'm thinking about running routes, dude. I'm telling you, I may have a little cocktail in my hand, but in my mind, bro, I'm still thinking football. I'm like, man, I should have done this. I could have done this. When I get back, when I get back in training camp, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm crazy.
Yeah.
That's how I was. Like, nobody really knew that about me, but that's how I started to get better. I mean, everybody is different. They're a little bit quirky with how they try to be and evolve as a receiver. But for me, that's what it was. Like, those routes and things that I messed up on during the course of the season, they ate at me. Mm-hmm. They ate at me, and it pushed me to try to be better and better every year. Like I said, you try to perfect your craft. You try to be the best version of yourself that you can be. And that's how I became, like I said, I emerged from, 3rd round draft pick. He was 6th, Langston. We tried to be better than when we came in.
Yes.
And so as I saw, like I said, the only thing that didn't apply to me that you said that you learned was that, not allowing people to think better of you than yourself. Mm-hmm. I did, because my coaches saw something in me that I didn't think that I had.
Yeah.
So you borrowed that for a short period of time until you got enough confidence in yourself.
Exactly. But they saw something in me that I didn't even see.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we go back and forth. Like, I never thought I would play beyond the collegiate level. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So everything that I've accomplished, like I said, desire, dedication, and discipline. And it seems like you had that early on in your career. You went to a power school, Stanford. And for all these guys that are out here trying to be what you're trying to be, what you're trying to accomplish, you got to take those steps back sometimes. You have to lose those reps to gain. So, man, we appreciate what you're doing, and just the knowledge of, like you telling people, it's between the ears. Sometimes it's not always about the most talented.
Yep.
And I try to tell my son that sometimes you can have the best ability, or you can think you're better than that person or whatever. They may play in front of you, not because they're more athletic than you.
Right.
Sometimes because they're smarter than you.
Yeah, for sure.
And the coaches will trust you in certain situations that you're going to get the job done.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the Stanford days, right? It's like, okay, what type of receiver is he going to be? Because again, the receivers, that wasn't a powerhouse, school for receivers, So people, okay, what type of receiver is going to be? And it's like, I remember we had the conversation of you having to just make yourself your own receiver. I don't know, you don't know what that's going to be, you know what I'm saying? But as long as you can get in that system and figure out, okay, there's 5 or 6 spots. I just got to do one of those spots. I don't have to do all 5. You know what I'm saying? Very few guys get to go inside and outside and, maybe
Move around.
Maybe 5 or 6 receivers of all time got to do that. He did it inside or outside, but it's hard to do.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So once you get to the system, all you got to do is find one of those 5 spots and do it better than anybody else.
Right.
You can get yourself 5-10-year NFL career.
Oh, for real.
So it's like that thinking is that kind of like, you're triggering you to say, okay, let me just figure out what I have to do here in Cincy to get on the field and stay on the field.
Yeah, just finding your niche because you have Jamar Chase.
Yeah. That's T. Higgins on the other.
Right, you have T. Like, what are you going to do to complement or get into the system or plays where you can contribute to the team? Because like I said, I was there early on in my career trying to figure out like how can I get on the field? How can I get on the field? How can I get on the field to contribute to help out JJ, Jerry, Brent Jones? How can I get 1 or 2 of those balls? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I said, third down situations, whatever. And like I said, you're growing every year. What is it going to take for Trent Irwin to get into that system?
Rotation.
Yeah, that rotation.
100%. I mean, I think it's interesting to look at how teams run. Like they'll run a route for a certain guy because they know that guy is the best at that route. I think that's sort of what you're talking about there. Whether that be like an option route, whether that be an over, whether whatever it be. That sort of needs to be your niche. That's your route that you get in there, and they go, okay, well, if we put him here, he gonna win.
Yeah, we know he gonna win on this one.
Exactly.
If he don't win on nothing else, he winning on this one. Yeah.
So I think that's sort of that finding your role type of thing. Yeah. Also in the sense of, you talked about Jamar and you talked about T. For me, I got to know everything.
Right.
I got Stanford.
Right.
I got to know every route and
Yeah.
every read and every concept and know those like the back of my hand so that I'm able to go, okay, blah blah's tired or this situation doesn't work here.
Yeah, you get it.
They can throw me in at that.
Right.
They can throw
So
me
that's
in
your
at
role.
valuable. That's sort of
That's
my
your
role
role.
is to be able to be
Like a utility guy, in
Exactly.
a sense, you know what I mean? Make yourself valuable, create a valuable, you're a valuable and liable, not liable, but a valuable asset.
And reliable.
Yeah, to the team. That's that's awesome, man.
Yeah. So again, I know you're kind of a little history football buff a little bit. Let's see what you got in the archives though, right? So we want to get your top 5, right? We want to get your top 5 wide receivers of all time.
Oh.
Right? Give whatever, again, doesn't have to be a certain order, right? But your top 5 receivers, you might just like them, might just like the way they dress, you might whatever, but it's your top 5 receivers of all time.
My top 5 receivers of all time.
Yeah, so you can go back as 1960 if you want to. You know,
you can put Hatcher in there.
I belong.
Hatching his own top 5.
Yeah, I got my own top 5, baby. Yeah, give us your top 5
5
receivers of
wideouts
all
all
time,
time.
brother.
Man. I think I got to go.
Have you ever thought about this?
I haven't really put it on paper like that. Like I don't have I'm not just
When
pulling
we're
out of the
playing, we
document
probably
here.
never did neither. We talk
know?
about it now a lot,
Right.
because that's all we got. You know what I'm saying? But when we were playing, I probably didn't think about, again, who I thought was the top 5 in my eyes.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's tough.
Good.
That's a tough one.
This
for
is your top 5. It don't matter what
no.
nobody else
think,
thinks, whatever.
Yeah.
You're the professional. You have a professional
tripping
opinion.
about all that
You're
anyway.
you're right.
I think I'm gonna go Randy at 1.
Okay, Randy
Okay.
1.
Just dynamic.
Yep.
Sort of changed the game there in my eyes, but
Yep.
let's see if we could go.
You can go back to 1947 if you want to. It's all on you,
I
buddy.
feel like it's getting. I feel like 47 is not. It's not it. The craft ain't there.
They weren't as athletic
Nah.
back in the day.
Nah. Then might have to go with. You probably got to go with Jerry with numbers.
Jerry,
Jerry
okay.
with numbers, routes, and all that. But
Right.
then let's see.
Any Stanford legends back in the day?
I don't think we have though. I mean, we got Doug, but Doug,
Doug Baldwin,
was our
for
main
Seattle.
one.
Yeah, shout out to Doug Baldwin, man.
Yo.
Oh, he went to Stanford?
Yeah.
Yup.
Oh, wow.
Undrafted. He was undrafted.
That's right. He was undrafted.
On the way.
Sure.
Yeah,
Super
he
Bowl?
was balling. Yeah, he was balling. Had a good 4 or 5 years.
Could have had 2 Super Bowls.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. You know. Hey, shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Man.
Nobody know.
1 yard line, dog.
Nobody know.
That's something you would do.
Oh,
That's something you would do.
Okay, so I'm gonna. I don't think
talk
I've ever-
about that.
I don't think I've ever said
I've had
this.
that conversation with you though.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
because again, if you talk to anybody, especially any play caller or offensive guy,
Yeah.
right?
Offensive coordinator.
If you say it's 1st and goal
Yeah.
from the 7 or 8 yard line going in, you ask them how many times you're going to throw the ball. Every single one of them are going to say at least once, right? At least once. So on
Yeah.
1st down, they ran it. So on 2nd down, now you get to the point, I either have to call this pass here or I can't call it. So he decided to call it there, number one. Number two, the Patriots also had the best rushing defense in the NFL. There was no guarantee that Lynch would just go walk into the end zone. He just went from the 6 down to the 3,
Yeah.
right? So that's the 2 reasons right there. Like, I'm like,
He went from the
sold.
6 to the 3.
So that's you're
3
thinking
yards.
the next play he automatically gets 3. It doesn't work like that
I'm
because it's the best rushing defense
I'm
in
at
the
least,
NFL.
I'm at least thinking he's getting half of that. He's getting half of that, and with his extra effort and being the type of back he is,
Yeah.
he may squeak in there with
He
that
might.
with
He
that
might.
extra. Right, I'm saying with that extra effort.
He might fumble too.
No, I ain't gonna.
Oh,
No,
there's so many scenarios. He might do this. He
yeah.
might trip on his own shoelaces.
Yeah.
Whatever, all those scenarios, they're all out there.
And you would say from the goal line, low ball, back in the end zone, high ball,
High ball,
right? So
yeah.
I think that would be where you could argue too.
I know.
Yeah. And I
Keep that thing
personally,
low, it doesn't
I
get
thought
picked.
it was the
It's
receiver's fault.
Okay.
I thought that the DB was right here. His hands were right.
Ricardo Lockett. I
Yes.
think I may have addressed this,
Yeah.
and I wasn't saying it to
Not a
to-
disrespectful way.
Right, but he took that as disrespect. We've talked about it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I didn't mean it as disrespect to him because he believed himself like I can make that play.
Absolutely.
Obviously, he was.
I think he would make that play 9 out of 10 times.
right. So
personally.
when I think I don't know what I said, but I said something along the lines of I probably wouldn't have called that play at that point in time. And then no, this is what I said. It was something along of he wasn't the number one receiver.
Option. Wasn't the number one option.
Right,
at
and
that
he
time in the
took
game.
he took offense to that.
Yeah.
And I didn't mean it in that way. And I'm like, yo, he wasn't even like the number one receiver on the team at that point.
Baldwin was at that point.
I think he was.
Right. So the play went to Ricardo.
Yeah.
So like I said, I didn't mean any disrespect. Like I said, I was just talking. I'm like, my thing was like, why are they throwing this play? And I'm like, if they're gonna throw it, at least throw it to your number one.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so
And again, I thought I thought
Ricardo,
he
please
was,
don't beat me up again if you see it. We've already discussed
punch
it.
him in his
You
face.
already know. Like,
But
yeah.
again, I
slap me like Will.
Oh man.
So I personally thought instead of having his hands here,
Man,
if they were here, it's a catch.
Or
That's a
incompletion.
fact.
Yeah,
Or an
or
incompletion,
incomplete.
worst case. But again,
Right.
this gives that DB that 1 foot to jump in front.
Right,
This does
yeah.
not give the DB an option to intercept
But
that.
you
pass.
also low ball. Low ball is never
and
gonna
low
get picked.
and low ball. So that goes
Front
back
of the
to
end zone, that
Russell.
ball's
Russell,
low.
was that a good pass or all that? So yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That's why there's 100 million scenarios. They
Right,
just
It's
Tom
what
Brady got
happened.
another one.
Man.
that's what happened.
Right.
That's
right.
what happened.
But back to your top 5. You're not
Top
getting
Yeah, so we got two. We got Mossy, we got Jerry in there.
Yup.
Moss, Jerry.
Anybody currently now that you think is going to be
Man.
going down in history?
I just like Devontae Adams there.
Devontae, okay, yeah.
I think studying wise, I like to watch him the most just because I feel like he's an artist.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Third,
every way he
third
moves.
round guy.
Okay,
Right,
so
third
it
round
just-
guy from Fresno State.
okay.
Balling, doing his
Yeah.
thing.
Moss, Jerry,
Man.
Devontae.
Devontae. Yeah.
Yup. Let's see who'll be that fourth.
And again, there don't have to be no order. You can just throw.
Yeah.
It's just 5 of them. You just throw them on out there, whatever.
Nah, Julio just growing up.
Julio.
Julio.
Okay, yeah. He dominated for a good 4 or 5 years.
Julio.
He can do everything
I thought Julio probably could have had even a better career
in a different.
in a different system. I thought. I just thought there was those 4 to 6 years where Atlanta was just like run heavy.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
The coaches wouldn't even like, dude, like that's your guy.
Yeah, I thought I thought he could have had some outrageous numbers,
Man.
but I just But again, he's still
Yeah.
like that. All right, so yeah, throw one more in there that you thinking about.
We'll put T.O. in there for sure. Man.
We
T.O.'s in
don't
there.
have to put just
T.O.'s
because he's
in
sitting
there,
here.
though.
You don't gotta put him in
No,
there.
you're sitting here too.
So who you gonna take? Ti. Who you gonna take? You know what I'm saying? No, it's
No,
all
I
good.
gotta throw T.O. in there. Even my guy, I've been watching him on.
Yeah,
as
we
a
had
kid.
workouts. We had workouts.
We worked
back
out
then. I
multiple
think he
times.
came
I don't
to,
know. Remember, I was a little smaller, but we worked out multiple times.
We had the
Sierra Canyon.
B2G practice.
Oh, the B2G,
and all
yeah,
that.
Sierra Canyon a little bit.
Sierra Canyon, we
We
did
had
a lot.
those workouts.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so we worked out multiple times there. But, growing up, a kid watching. So,
Yeah.
in my top 5, though.
That's
Cool.
great. Yeah.
There
So hey, I'll let you get in there. You gonna be 5.
Get a one-on-one rep for that.
Yeah, I'm giving you.
That's fine. That's cool.
No, it's all good. But no, we appreciate you coming on. So
Yeah.
tell people about your football camp you did this year and you hope to do next year. And then
Yeah.
let everybody know where they can find
Where
you.
they can find you
Yeah.
on
and
social
all that
media.
Totally. So I had my first, hopefully, annual football camp. Just, what was it, about 2-3 weeks ago?
Yep.
And had 150 kids there.
Yep.
It was all free. So I got all the little kids some shirts,
Yep.
free to come in. We had a couple Boys and Girls Club people come in too. They took the little bus on over.
Shout out to Boys and Girls
yo,
Clubs of America.
Always. Yes, sir.
And, I just had some of my, best buddies, but just my message there was just to, bring that energy that they bring day in and day out in practice, and that sort of that playful, cheerful, learning, competing energy that I think is necessary for kids to be able to either, I think energy is contagious. So I think they were able to bring that there to that situation, and it really made the camp come alive. Just the people, everyone involved in it, and it was pretty cool to be able to have it in my hometown there.
Yeah,
And
right there in
just-
Santa Clarita. Right?
Yup.
Yeah.
And
So
just,
again, you want to do that like every single year for these next 5-10 years?
Yeah, I'm gonna make it annual for sure.
That's awesome. All right, let people know where they can find you, like social media, stuff like that.
Yeah. So just Trent Irwin on Instagram, but I'll post it up there, link for any registration when that camp's coming around. It'll probably be around this time every year, just because that's the time I have off.
All right.
And excited to get going.
All right, well, man, we're looking forward, man, to seeing you get into the rotation.
Yes, sir.
Seeing
make some plays, man.
Seeing some highlights. Really truly making another name for yourself. You've already done it at the collegiate level.
Yeah.
Man, we appreciate you coming on the show, man.
Appreciate
and
y'all having me.
hope we can bring you back after you win the Super Bowl. or something.
Man.
There you go.
That's
T.I.'s
good.
in the building, not T.I. the rapper. Trent Irwin, ladies and gentlemen. Get your Popcorn Ready podcast. I'll let y'all next week.